Hello and welcome back to my channel, Checks Captures Threats, and today's video is now going to be playing game 28 of the Rapid Increase. So, we did quite well I believe last time out, and hopefully now we can carry on in this 1800s at the minute, 1836, hopefully we can carry that on and get another win. Now, we're going to be starting as white here, and we're going to play d4 per usual. And this guy's, I believe, from Cuba. So, c6, quite a different response here. Now, if we play c4, I'm expecting the Slav, and I'll be honest, I'm quite ready for that. So, I'm immediately going to move our knight to f3. We know that that's some sort of idea here. Now, I'd like to really try and get this bishop on g5, but I don't really know just yet where I want it. So, I could put it on f4 for the minute, but I think let's just get this knight out. Get both our knights out like normal. And now we're in a nice position. So, what I want to play soon is queen c2. Get this bishop out, get the pawn out, and then have this battery with the bishop and the queen. Now, he's going to go bishop g4 now. So he's a little bit early, I think. That's why I didn't really want to do that straight away. But I could go in unison with him here. But I just don't know if maybe f4 could be the better move here. But I think we're gonna kind of go in the same thing. Because if he goes h6, we can just retreat. If he captures here, we'll probably capture with our e-pawn, as he's going to play e6 now, and we're just going to play queen c2 and get completely off of that. Now, he might play bishop f5 here, which, I'll be honest, is a little bit annoying, but no, he's just going to capture here. I'm pretty sure we have to capture with his pawn, and now he's going to get his bishop out. So, we're in a good position so far. Now, I think just to nearly finish this up, I have a few ideas. Do I want to try and push here and then play the bishop? Because after I play bishop to d3 here, then they're going to capture. Maybe not the worst, because it obviously gets rid of that, but we will have an isolated pawn. Whereas if we do this, we might be able to get some b4 and a4 ideas here, and I kind of like that for a change, as I'm quite used to always playing this, as we've seen before, and they just capture, and it's a little bit ruined. Now I'm expecting b6 now. That's why I want to play b4 and then a3, have this nice little chain here. He castles, and I'm just immediately going to play bishop d3. We knew that this was going to be the plan all along. Now, he's going to play h6. So the question is now, do I go back here and then do this whole thing? Because now our bishop sits nicely in this corner and easily ready to go e5 still. I think so. And I'd love if he does all of this, because we could create such a huge attack. He's not going to do that. He's going to play b6 here. So what I believe now we do is our response to that, which is b4. I don't really want to capture at the minute, and I think that's probably one of the nicest positions here we can get. Now, we might try and respond this with a5 here, which is a little bit annoying, as we can't play a3 here. So what might have to happen is we capture, and it might not look the best for us here. Though, can we try and get anything from this? Now, another idea here I was thinking was push, because after this whole capture stuff, this is obviously still a huge pin. I'm trying to make mistakes around here, but I think we're going to push weirdly. So if he does capture, we can get a very nice push knight here, but we need to castle now. We have to castle as soon as possible to play something like a4 here. Now he's going to capture this pawn. I don't really want to try and capture this because I'll give him a tempo. So we're just going to recapture here. He's going to capture with his bishop. So maybe not the best we got from that. We're going to be a pawn down here, but I feel like I might have made some sort of mistake with that b4 thing. So maybe just got to try and remember that next time. Maybe it's not the best idea. Anyway, hopefully, as he's just thinking here, as I don't know if he will be taking or not. It's actually quite difficult to decide, because obviously that pin is still huge and he's most likely got to move straight back. Also, this knight move to here, discovering onto the bishops, I say, and this pawn is definitely not the worst idea. If anything, I'd actually probably move back to e2 and go something like this. Obviously, I wouldn't right now because the fork there, but okay. Different move then, and he's actually going to play d4, which I did not see at all that he was going to play. And I'm just going to move my knight now back to e2. A bit more positional like. And I don't really mind that, because now our pawn's protected. don't get me wrong, I'm expecting this capture and then maybe somewhere this queen can get in, but he's now going to move his knight, so now this is really looking at trying to get this, and if we were to just move this bishop, then I think this fork is going to happen. So what I think is going to happen is we take and then play a3 here. He might recapture with a knight, I'm not too sure what his ideal plan is right now, but I'm guessing queen takes here, and this knight move is looking quite, yeah. So I'm going to play a3 here. Everything's protected now, which is nice. Rook's all protecting this. You know, surprisingly, every piece actually on the board other than these two are protected. So he's going to capture, though. Now, this is where we have multiple ideas. Do we want to capture this with the bishop, or do we want to capture this? Now, if we were to capture this pawn's going to move down. Maybe not the best. Now, if I was to take here, this push is always going to be quite nice. So this is why he might have to get rid of this pawn anyway. So we're going to take this. And this pawn might be our kind of ideal thing here. Is this pawn isn't really going to help too much for him. Probably neither is this pawn. So that's why if we can win this pawn, I don't mind trying to trade off these pawns here. As I'm expecting maybe something like this. If we were to take with this knight, this rook would take. Maybe not the best right now, but something along those lines would definitely be useful. As if he was to actually play this, I probably would just push. To be honest, that's a very nice idea. Wow, a very obscure one. And he's going to play this knight move. Now, my immediate idea was going to be to play pawn push. After a rook comes in, we were just going to take here. I still think that's fine in my opinion. Now, if we was to take this now, he's going to capture this whole thing like this, and I don't really want to do that. So we're just going to push. So this pawn I'm not expecting to promote. If I'm able to promote this, that is amazing. But what I'm expecting really is to take this pawn for the price of this really. But obviously now we look at it, I'm going to be taking this pawn, protecting this here. Obviously I'm expecting this to push, and you know, I'm going to end up all the way back here or something. And I can't take this right now because after push and I move, maybe I can. It's very risky because if you think about it, after I play this and I get attacked here, I play something like this. Queen has got to move, to be fair. And then I could move this bishop out of the way. But do I want to try that? Yes, I do. We're going to risk it. We're going to take a risk. We're going to take it now. I'm expecting this, quite guaranteed. Going to play this knight across. Yeah, we're going to have to play a little bit faster. Just try and keep with time with him. As our queen is actually protecting this as well. So he's going to try and get double attack now. That is quite smart, don't get me wrong. But to be honest, how actually we can protect both these things by playing bishop back to f1, which could actually surprisingly be alright, but at the same time, no. So I'm expecting probably just to play something like this. This knight can't obviously come back because of... So if this pawn goes, we're going to be not in the best position though. So it's going to look very weird, but I'm actually thinking about just doing this, just so I can push this pawn, get this bishop back out, and then castle. It's a bit of a weird move, but we're going to try it. Now obviously this is still being attacked, so we're going to have to probably move this knight as well. But I would like to try and get this pawn push happening fast as possible, and then getting the bishop to protect this knight. So knight to d6 does look nice. The only issue is, obviously, I'm going to be moving all sorts of places. So I'm going to be going here, 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 and then maybe all the way back to this sort of position. So, annoyingly, I feel like I should have just got castled at a certain point before that. Maybe the risk wasn't the best to do, but also probably isn't the worst. I had to move back to f1 though. It's not the nicest at all, but it's fine. Now I'm expecting something like one of these rook moves here. Just going to play something like this. After that happens, we're probably going to play something like bishop. So, yeah. And luckily this knight can't really move at the minute. I'm just going to have to play fast here. Try and get this pushed. I'd like to get that happening. I do not like that move, but at the same time, it does put my bishop on e4 very nicely. Although again, that square will be attacked. But I'll be able to castle by then. Maybe I'll have to put the bishop on c4 then. Now, he can't, especially there's a few moves that's really, the reason this could be good is there's a few moves he can't really play. This move being one of them, as if I was to ever make this go, as he has played, okay. So, I don't know if I can do it exactly right now, but because if I play this, he can obviously capture. And again, this knight is just there. There is some sort of ideas here. Now, I'm going to play this rook move. And the reason for this is I'm just trying to bluff, trying to make his knight move. The reason for that is obviously so I can do this. So if he was to try and play a knight move here, I'm going to win his queen. And he's going to move the knight, so I think he does know what was happening there. Now, I just kind of feel like pushing this pawn. Now, I don't know about like push a pawn for a huge attack sort of thing, but I'm just thinking to at least push it just to, you know, play this so I stop this attack and I get this bishop out very nicely. This knight can move, but not in the best of ways, I would say. But it's not a bad position now. It's not a bad position, I would say. Now, the question is, where do I put the bishop? Now, most likely I'd put the bishop here, in line with the queen here, because that's a nice move. Multiple things going on here, actually. As maybe we might just have to push this pawn up one more. So you see, he's sacrificing his knight to try and win my queen here. But if I was to play this bishop move, he can actually sacrifice this if he wants to. But that might be quite risky. If I push this pawn, he's obviously going to take here. I can take with this, but again, it's quite risky. And I can, again, do something like this, but at the same time, he takes there. It's not the nicest right now. Give me a bit of time to think, which is nice. I'm just going to push. I'm not too sure what to do. I'm going to guess this will happen. I feel like I should take with the queen. Maybe castling's not on anymore, though. But yeah, I'm still going to take with the queen here. As I still have a good idea. After this takes, this takes, this take. Then something like the bishop coming along. But also this queen sort of idea coming along these two squares. I'm definitely probably not winning. Maybe not losing by that much either, though. Yep, I have to capture back. Now, the question is, where do we put this bishop? I'm thinking we put this bishop here now. Having a very nice attack. And there's no checks either. So, all good there. Now I'm expecting it to come back one of these two squares to attack this pawn. And we can play a very nice move of queen to d7 here. Could also play definitely this move here. Trying to attack somewhere. But yeah, as we thought, he's going to play that now. This is where this move looks so nice. I'm just going to play it. As we've got to try and make him think. And now, annoyingly, I'm probably going to have to put my king onto e2 here. Just to get this rook out. I've not been able to... Both of us haven't been able to use our rooks. So now I'm expecting this, probably. Just trying to predict their moves. Because it's always good to predict them. Because then you know the sort of ideas that they're planning. Now, if they were to do that, to be fair, I would go there. Now, he is going to do that now. I would happily have a trade here. So I'm actually just going to move my king up one. I'm going to pre-move this take. As I would easily be able to promote this now, I think. Maybe. But I would at least win something if he does take. Now, the reason is that it's take, take. If he puts his rook here, we have the nice move of rook c1. Attacking this knight, forcing it to do something like this. And then after this capture, we'll be able to play rook to c8 with our pawn protecting that. So that would be very nice if we can get that position, but I was actually a bit surprised. I probably could have taken this pawn here, but I didn't. That's fine. Now we're going to get our rook out, though, which is the main thing. Now he's actually going to take. Wow. So that's huge. Now he's again going to play his rook here. We're now going to play our rook to c1 here. Now this is turned. The tides have turned here. And wow. Maybe we have just clinched another win here. If we were to win this, we're exactly 1850 as well. So it'd be quite nice. So if he was to play this, this is a losing move after we capture, and we are able to play this, pinning this rook, forcing it to capture or go back, but either way we're going to win that. So the only move, I don't see it. If he can't play anything like this, so yeah, he's going to play it. We're going to capture. If he recaptures, we're going to have the lovely move of rook to c8 here. And we're going to play that now. And I feel like any second now, he is going to resign. And we have won. So, it's now 1850. Just go through the game review just to finish off today's episode and today's game. 78.3% accuracy. Finally no blunders. I'm now not as bad as that. But Slav, I definitely messed up at the opening. Don't get me wrong. 100% I messed this up. Yeah, did not b4. I did say about knight a4, but it wasn't the best. And I feel like, yeah, I'm not really losing too much at all, which is good. I really like that a3 push we did. They didn't actually like that. They said I could have captured the pawn. Maybe I timed it all a bit wrong. But, yeah, they didn't like this at all. But I just really didn't want to lose that pawn. I am about winning in this position, though. By about point, maybe just less than now. This is a little bit losing. But yeah, that's a big thing. He could have actually just captured this pawn here now. Actually, and I would have been triple pawn, so he missed that. And this is what gave me a huge position, and this was the big mistake. And now we moved our king. They didn't like that. They said we could have castled. That was actually kind of smart. But they now take. This is the big blunder. They could. Wow. They're saying they could have taken this. Now, I would not, as black would be wanting to take that. It's this easy. This means no checks, because obviously we block here. But also, we're just allowing this knight to be free, which is actually, that is really weird. We're actually allowing this knight to just be free, almost. As now this check just completely blocks us in, I think, because wherever we go, we'll lose that rook or something. Anyway, we take, and again, they just, yep, the best move was to sacrifice, so there we go. We win the game. So, hopefully you enjoyed today's game. That is game 28 of the chess guide. Well, not chess guide, of the rapid increase. So, thank you, and bye-bye.